Judy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited about the many opportunities, multiple opportunities that we have. It's crazy. Even email yesterday, opportunity in rail, that we didn't anticipate. Just wonderful. Keith he's been on the road, and trying to concentrate more on that. One of the benefits, I think, of me becoming CEO has helped us in that capacity, and that I can concentrate on what we're doing right here in our processes, our finances, our future planning, and our just being a communicator with the bank and keeping everything in line. And he can get out there and just chit chat and talk and meet people, which he absolutely loves, the people element of it. As you know, he can talk a lot, Natalia, right? So I am excited about that. I've been preparing some information for just the growth that we want to experience, but that's tied in with capital. So I'm working a lot on, just getting all the forecasting together, and getting our numbers together for 2022, the next 2 quarters. And what we're anticipating our cash needs.
Where are you from exactly, Judy? I mean, I know you're from United States. However, what state you were born and grew up?
I was born in Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I love Chicago so much. I love to go back and visit, and I love the food. Maybe that's in my bloodstream too, but or maybe I just am a food lover. I'm a foodie, but Chicago, my father passed away and it was, he was 33 and a half. And it was from complications that he had when he had rheumatic fever as a child. So my mother has 2 children, and all of a sudden she's got to go find work. Okay. I'm 3 and a half. My brother is 6 and a half at the time. And so she did get a job. She started working at a Phillips 66 station in the Chicago area. And she met my stepfather. She happened to work for him. And so he got transferred from the Chicago area to Mishawaka, South Bend, Indiana. And we moved there when I was about 6. So yeah, and that's how I have pretty much settled in Indiana and lived here ever since.
And was your first job in South Bend, Indiana?
I've had a number of jobs. I worked for the city for a while, South Bend City. This is young, but it was during in between school years, for summer employment. One of my jobs, I worked at a cemetery clipping around tombstones. I worked for the deputy county recorder. It was a really interesting program that I got involved with. So I had a variety of jobs, over the course of those summers, and got to see a lot of how things worked, and maybe try a lot of different things.
Then how did you come to work with Uptrex?
Yes, I had a job at a cabinet company, and that was where I got a lot of grounding in, let's say, pricing, costing. I started out as a sander for a cabinet company for the RV industry in Elkhart. And I learned to be a door maker, and then I learned to do the frames that fit within the RV. And then I learned the painting and the coating. And then I learned, they brought me up into the office and I learned how to price the units. I helped with purchasing of materials, a variety of jobs. So that was a good experience for me. But it turns out next door was American Fiberglass Fabricators. And Keith's father came and purchased that company. And this was 1989-ish, I want to say. No, that wasn't. Let's go back, 1979. Sorry, I'm older than I think I am. But 79.
Yeah,
He came and
because
he purchased American Fiberglass Fabricators. And the story I like to tell everyone is Keith and I went out to the brake truck and we both reached for the same breakfast sandwich. And that's how we met. But it
and
wasn't quite like that, but it's close. So
yeah, but it also means that this story starts with the food as well.
exactly. Everything does, doesn't it?
At the end of the day, food.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, for how many years you are now connected with Uptrex?
Yes. Well, I remember working in the office. He needed some help. I don't know if he had lost a secretary accounts who did like maybe his payroll and typed his quotes. And so I might have filled in there. But I do specifically remember when I got to run the table saw, he lost his mold maker in a fiberglass shop. Mold maker is very important because you build that structure, that tank out of wood, and then they lay up the fiberglass laminate on top of the wood. So he would tell me, this is the tank I need. So I'd figure, ID dimensions are the OD of that wooden structure. And so I remember running a table saw with my tool belt below our daughter Kate while I was pregnant and setting that piece of plywood on top of Kate in my belly and pushing that through the table saw and making this wooden mold. So I did have opportunity again to be involved, in and out through payroll, through office, through filling in for staff. But my sales opportunity, my first sales opportunity came about when we had a thin film coatings expert at the time. And we had we moved from Elkhart to South Bend, where we currently are now. And through that purchase, we got into thin film coatings. And so we lost the person that was our expert in that. And so then I said, well, I want to learn it. So I came in and I learned how to estimate the volatile solvents, solids, coverage of coatings, and also the coating capabilities, service conditions, temperatures. So it was a good start for me. And I did all the quoting of anything that we coated back then.
As you were a CEO of the company, what is the biggest challenge for you now in your work?
Yeah, it's really been an interesting progression for me. I've had to morph in my role. In 2018, Keith bought out his partners, and he decided he really needed me to come in, be involved. So I did, and at that time, it was quoting, it was watching just how we did production, just getting familiarized again with the processes here. We had done the old school, everything, all our paperwork was as Keith's dad had determined it would be, this is how you do it. And I knew that intricately, no problem with running that office, but now I had to learn the new system and then how that correlated with the old and making sure, we weren't losing anything in the cracks. And so I got involved, and it was always going to be just temporary, just temporary, and that's what he said to you, just come in, just be for a little while, and then you'd be back out, so it's like, okay, that's fine, and to come in and watch but then it's just like the role just kept changing and my involvement kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then finally it was like, it just seemed like the best move for us. We had some people who had asked about federal contracts and big accounts that came and visited and said, if you do pursue woman ownership, dropping these seeds, we knew that the opportunities are there in the federal government, through the federal funding and also through the set aside of the woman-owned small business. It seemed like a very good move, especially with what I was learning as I was growing. And I'm so thankful, really, for just how exciting it is. I consider myself a lifelong learner. I think that that's where it is discovery. I was in a meeting this last week, and the gal says, you're a scientist. I said, well, I've never really been called that before, but I do like to analyze, and I do like to understand cause and effect, and what brings about what. And so it's been a good process for me. It's been exciting. It's one that I never thought I would, get back into business, again, full time. So like I have since 2018. So, but it's been a good move for Keith and I. And I believe it's been a good move for Abtrex, and I'm going to try to demonstrate that in the years to come.
Is there a lesson you would like to teach as a mentor, like other young people starting in business?
The importance of people and culture. I think that your greatest commodity is your people. And especially the years of experience. I think as you go through things, you understand things. You understand what you don't understand. Okay. You don't even know what the right questions are until you come up against some things that you don't understand. And I think that that's part of the process is, be open to learning, be open to asking questions, learning how to ask the right questions. Have good counselors, good mentors around you. And there's opportunities, for being involved with CEO groups. And that's what I've done is attach myself to a very good group as well as Keith over the years. He has been involved with a group. So I think that pulling from the data sources that you have and understanding that, one of our values is to be growth oriented, but the understanding is that I don't understand how all this works, but I can learn, teach me. And a willingness to learn and a humility to accept that, maybe this isn't the right way to do things. Let's do it a little differently and work through those things.
How, in your opinion, the EOS system helped the company?
Oh my confidence has been in the EOS system because a lot of times the numbers don't show or demonstrate, the changes that we've made within our corporation yet. But I am starting, and especially just within the last few leadership meetings, the last few months, I'm seeing how the progress and the new methods and the standardization and the weekly meetings that we do, as hard as those can be and as hard as those are to schedule and to make the most important thing, those things are starting to pay off because we've got a communication within the organization, within Abtrex. You have a collaboration that's there. You've got a better understanding of what the problems are, and that's the only way you can get it is through this communication. So the EOS platform has been so wonderful for us, and I think has helped us and helped our people to grow as leaders, because that's what it's about, is that everyone takes an interest in the company, maybe becomes an owner themselves, a responsible person, a contributor within the organization. So I'm thrilled with the program, that it gives us some moorings and some understandings of what we need to do as a business in order to grow and be a professionally managed corporation.
Are there any significant changes you see about the people and the employees after introducing EOS system?
EOS stresses heavily that you must have the right people, first of all, who line up with your corporate values. And secondly, you must have those right people in the right seats. And the good thing about the EOS system is you create measurables that a person has to meet those measurables. So that kind of defines whether or not that's the right person in the right seat, and even sometimes if that's the right person. And there's that collaboration and that teamwork and that trust that has to be developed. And I think the EOS system kind of shakes out any people that aren't wanting to run in that same system with us. So I think it's helped us to better identify, because of our values, and understanding and even using the tools that EOS has given us to better determine, who is a good fit for us and who perhaps would be a better fit somewhere else other than Abtrex Industries.
Now, as we're talking about the employees, Judy, what features make a person a good employee in your opinion for you?
Yes, you've got reputation is key. Okay, and again, see, we are drawing from the EOS values that we've determined, and reputation is key for the company, but also for themselves. Okay, and accountability, of recognition when maybe I didn't do something right, and being able to own that and move on from there and grow. Growth. We have to be growth oriented. Um, Safety, and the concept of safety itself is being able to conform to rules. Okay, it doesn't make it faster to do the job the safe way, but in the end it does, and in the end it is the best caring for other individuals within the organization as well, because if you create a danger for yourself, you're also creating a danger for other individuals. So you've got just within this EOS nucleus and within this value system, we can understand who that right person is, or at least have guidelines to understand.
So what are the pros and the cons of working side by side with your spouse?
Yes, the main one I think is separating the fact that you are husband and wife from this co-working environment. Coming, within that marriage, biblically, he is the head of our home. Okay. But then when we come here, I'm the CEO and he works for me. So it's getting that distinction. It's honoring one another in that relationship. That's tricky. Communication is critical. You need times where you talk through those things, and oftentimes, you're having these times of, intense communication, and it's in public. So that's difficult as well. It's being able to revisit, probably have, we have this thing in EOS called same page meetings, where it's a one-on-one with just Keith and I, where we might say, okay, now during that last leadership meeting, this topic came up and I didn't agree with what you had said, and here's why. Okay. And being able to have those heart-to-heart times of questioning and also communicating those things. So it's that separation, but it's honoring that work relationship as you honor that marriage relationship, being able to separate that. We were traveling down to Kate's 11 hours on the road, and I took the wheel, and we're about an hour away, and he goes, "Are we there already?" And I'm like, we talked to Lorraine, we talked to every salesman in the organization, so that is difficult because so much of life is immersed in, for us, especially in Abtrex.
So I know, Judy, that one of the things you and I have talked about, and that's a big thing in your life, is finding joy.
Yes.
So where are your joy centers in Abtrex? What at Abtrex brings you joy?
Definitely the learning aspect, being challenged, finding out what I don't know. And I've always been fairly confident, Kath, as an individual. When I started playing the trombone, because by the time I got there, everyone else had picked the flute. So they said, well, we've got plenty of flute players. I need a trombone player who want to play it. So through that, I pull out that trombone, and every other person is a guy playing that trombone, and they look at me like, and no one took me seriously. Same way on the golf tee. Okay, I played softball for a number of years, so I'm getting into personal here. And I'd go up there, and a guy would say, well, I'd be on the men's tee, and he would say, well, miss, that ladies' tee is up over there, honey. So it was
Honey,
and
sweetie.
Keith just knew, oh, buddy, it's coming now. So then I tee that puppy up and I drive it out there, and it was like those are my best drives because you've just gone to Medlin here, you know.
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. And wow, and so and I love those moments, but it's knowing that, if I work hard, Natalia, if I discover, if I research this, if I, understand how this works, the process, then I can be successful at it. Okay. So I think the joy definitely does come in, I guess, discovering God's world. And I do have, the joy. I believe you can choose it because I do believe every event that comes into my life is governed by him, altered by him, adapted by him, and he holds my hand through it. So joy is how could you have any other response to any event in life other than joy? If that's truly your belief system, then, you've got to be joyful.
Judy, there was a story about Keith's father, and you were at some occasion and he asked you about serving a plate.
I think I learned how to grow and develop with people and people with tricky personalities, let's say, through my father-in-law. I knew that he respected me, okay? But he also loved to just go at me, So I'm new in the family, we're at our first little meal and Keith's mom is fixing his plate, and he says, Judy, you should go up there and fix that plate for Keith. I made Keith get his plate a lot more than maybe I would have had he not planted that seed there. But I did have a lot of fun with my father-in-law. The fact that I was female, he'd play that card all the time with me.
You've told us what brings you joy in the office. What brings you joy out of the office?
We have the privilege of having a foster grandchild that lives with us. She's 3, soon to be 4, and she calls me Dee Dee. And she loves to discover, she loves to talk about her world, and I have such a ball with her. She's in the why stage. You give her an answer and it's like, why? So I tell her, well, the clouds reflect the iridescent rays of the sun as it's setting, creating a rainbow effect, Lacey. And we talk, and we just throw things around like that. And I do enjoy her so much. She includes me in her life. She loves to show me things, and we love to spend time together.
I'm going to ask you quick questions. Your favorite food?
Pizza, first thing that came to mind. Chicago pizza, Giordano's, deep dish. Yeah.
Your favorite song?
Oh, that's a good one. It's a Christian song. Just the kind of God you are. We are messenger.
Your favorite book?
Bible. Bible.
Your favorite pastime?
Oh, right now it's yard work, gardening, and also we purchased a camper, so somebody's got to cut that grass. So,
Your favorite place to visit?
right now it'd be Europe. I did enjoy that with Kate, and because of Kate and the boys, it's going to be Virginia because we're leaving there this weekend.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Wow. Encanto right now, okay, because of, Lisi, right? And because of, they rested in their talents, and they made these talents their identity, but it wasn't actually the talents, it was their family. So I love the backstory and the message there from that. So Encanto would be my favorite right now.
Judy, I don't know this. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Really?
Yeah, that's the one I'm drawn to.
Well, Judy, thank you for your time today. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I enjoyed the whole process, and I enjoyed being with the three of you.